The Gallipoli Campaign, February 1915 to January 1916, was an unsuccessful attempt of Allied forces, Great Britain, France and Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, to control sea route from Europe to Russia during World War I. In late 1914, it was clear to the Allies that there would be no quick victory. The Western Front had become static and a costly trench war had begun. On November 1914, Winston Churchill, then the First Lord of Admiralty, suggested that if a new front was opened up against Turkey, the Germans would have no choice but to move troops east to assist the Turks. This, in turn, would weaken the German forces on the Western Front and eventually lead to Allied victory. Churchill was in favor of rapid naval engagement with the Turks. He believed that this would not only give the Allies naval control of the Dardanelles, but that the naval bombardment would destroy Turkish land defenses, thereby allowing an Allied army to move forward to Constantinople. On January 2, 1915, in response to an appeal by Grand Duke Nicholas, commanding the Russian armies, the British government agreed to stage a demonstration against Turkey to relieve pressure on the Russians on the Caucasus Front. The naval attack began on February 19, but was paused because of bad weather and was not resumed until February 25. On March 18, the bombardment was continued, but after Turkish forces sunk 3 battleships and 3 others had been damaged, the Navy abandoned its attack, concluding that the fleet could not succeed without military help. On April 25, 1915, the Allies launched their invasion on Gallipoli Peninsula. Despite suffering heavy casualties, they managed to establish 2 beachheads, at Helles on the peninsula's southern tip and at Capatepe on the Aegean coast. Large British and Dominion reinforcements followed, yet little progress was made. By February 1915, it was clear that without further large reinforcements there was no hope for decisive results. The letter recommended the withdrawal of military forces and abandonment of the enterprise, advice that was confirmed on November by the Secretary of State for War, Lord Kitchener, when he visited the peninsula. The difficult operation was carried out by stages and was successfully completed early on January 9, 1916. The casualties on both sides were approximately the same, around 250,000. The campaign had serious political and diplomatic repercussions. It gave the impression throughout the world that Allies were militarily impent. Winston Churchill resigned from his position and went to command an infantry battalion in France.